Welcome to the reflective video. My name is Sivan Thomas. In my proposal, pitching the IB curriculum to Indian school educators, I have strongly advocated towards inquiry-based and concept-driven education. It's not just another sales document which they usually get. It was a reflection of our constructive pedagogy which we explored and learned in our 7 weeks module. I have chosen to highlight the alignment with National Education Policy, NEP 2020, because that contextualized the IB in a very good way. It shows that international education isn't something foreign to our Indian soil. It's actually the direction India is already heading. I focus heavily on ATL and international mindedness in my proposal because they represents the how and why of the education, which is very much required. This aligns with the IB philosophy that education is holistic in nature, focusing on the learner's profiles, attributes, being a risk taker, open-mindedness. You know, try to move away the conversation from the just academic rigor to the whole development of the child, which is a central theme and mission statement of IB. How it evolved my understanding. When I started this module, I viewed IB as a rigor academic framework. I also saw through a content lens. They're thinking it was just a harder version of another Indian curriculum. However, reading on the concept-based curriculum and instructions completely shifted my thinking. Now I have a better understanding that it's a philosophy, it's a transformative philosophy, not only which empowers the students but us as educators. The weekly readings were very helpful. What is an IB education, discussion on global competencies help me see how IB fosters student voice, real world problem solving, justice oriented educations, and etc. I've come to realize that IB is not about just covering a textbook, it's about uncovering the big ideas. The most significant shift for me was the understanding of the word inquiry. I mean, I used to think that inquiry is just letting the children go loose and do whatever they do. But now it's a structured, scaffolded process which I understand, where we are the facilitators. This realization that teacher is a guide on the side rather than a sage on the stage has fundamentally changed my view and my role in my classroom and my professional identity as well. One of the key shifts was realizing that IB isn't just for high achievers. It's for every learner when implemented inclusively with intentional scaffolding. Certain areas where I felt like, challenges and I was anticipating it was implementing the vision in the Indian context was regarding parents' anxiety of about competitive examinations such as JEE and NEET. Many parents worry that IB doesn't prepare students for entrance test. For such scenarios, I would host parent workshop that maps the IB science curriculum against the entrance exam requirements, showing that how conceptual depth actually aids in these exams. Teachers' resistance to the inquiry is the second aspect. They often say they don't have time for inquiry because they have to cover the syllabus. For them, I would propose collaborative planning, time to map the syllabus against the concept. We need to show the teachers that inquiry leads to a deeper retention, then saving time in the long run. Assessment misalignment. It is hard to grade critical thinking when the system wants a right answer. I would suggest and implement formative assessment strategies where feedback is given on the ATL skills, not just the final product. How does it affect my future implications? Obviously, moving forward, I have new sets of professional commitments. My planning regarding the classes will now start with a concept and context rather than just a topic. Yeah, I commit to being comfortable saying now, I don't know. Let's find out together. This model inquiry is for my students. It upholds the IB philosophy. I will advocate for the idea that IB is the best vehicle to deliver the promise of NEP 2020. To conclude, I would say IB philosophy has taught me that we aren't just teaching students to pass a test. We are teaching them to thrive them in this complex world. That is the educator I want to become. This journey has deepened my belief that education must be inquiry driven and must be inclusive and globally connected. And IB offers a powerful path forward for all the students to become a lifelong learner. Thank you for listening. It's my, I do not know, 21st or 22nd take. I hope this time I'm successful.